Thank you. Thank you. Innovation happens at intersections. Innovation happens at intersections. It's an idea, it's a concept that's so true all across Stanford. That's why we'll see business school students taking art classes. We'll see 300-pound football players taking yoga. There's a creative power that comes from taking two seemingly disconnected worlds and bringing them together to create something new. Growing up, I always loved classical music. I loved Beethoven, I loved Brahms, but I also loved hip-hop. I loved pop music, I loved jazz, I loved the rhythm and flow of those genres. But it wasn't until I got to Stanford that I started writing music, including the piece that I just performed for you, that combines those worlds together. And I was really, thank you. And I was really curious why Stanford. I had never thought of myself as that creative before. I had never written music before I came to Stanford for 18 years. Why Stanford? What about the environment? And it really comes down to one idea. And that idea is that at Stanford, it's okay and it's accepted, it's even celebrated to diverge from the linear expected path for success, right? There's the pre-med student who only takes biology classes, and then there's the pre-med student that we celebrate at Stanford who also loves to build chairs in a machine shop or to study Mandarin because their mind can make incredible connections between those different areas. My connection, my intersection was actually required at Stanford. So as Dan said, I'm a design student, and for a visual design class 2 years ago, my professor actually required me to work on music instead of visual design. He said, Kai, I know you play the violin. He'd never heard me play, but he knew I played. And he said, Kai, I want you to write something for the violin. I want you to write a composition using these design principles of contrast, of theme, of metaphor. I want you to apply those to music. And a whole new world opened up to me for the past 2 years. I've been writing music ever since because the time I spent with music and the time I spent with design, I didn't see them as things that are scheduled against one another. They're actually forces that work together for me to create a powerful combination for myself and express something to the world. So this idea of intersection does not have to end with classes at Stanford. The idea of intersection is the way we see the world, meaning the things that we view as side projects or weird hobbies actually aren't either of those. They're sources of inspiration for us to create the next new thing. So, thank you.